Hello everyone and welcome back to the OS World Cup 2024, back to our semi-final stage. We are continuing our run here after one great match very early on today between USA and Australia, finishing 6-4, and Korea then showing their dominance against Germany 6-0. We are back with another match that has a lot of potential to maybe be another highlight in this weekend. Hong Kong and Chile, seed 8 and seed 7. Incredible potential to be one of the best matches so far. I'm Sad Shiva and joined by, once again, this one guy.
Yes, welcome back to everyone. Hong Kong Chile is a fun matchup to look at. I do think that this is going to be a very exciting one. These are teams with, I think, quite different skill sets, which can often lead to a very exciting match. So I'm really looking forward to see what kind of pick strategy we see in this match, and to see these teams for the first time this weekend on a pool that's very much more challenging than the pools we've seen them on before in the last few weeks.
Yeah, I think what's really exciting about this is that there really is like a true sharp duality with both of these teams. I think there are a few things that are important to note that are in common. I think most likely the things that are going to be clashed, maybe most hesitated on, is going to be something along the lines of the hard rock slots, the aim maps particularly. But outside of that, differences are pretty sharp here. Hong Kong very much looking to abuse that ult and tech control, most likely looking deeper into the no mod and free mod pool, whereas Chile much more on the mechanics side. We know this quite popularly. It's a staple example of their biggest strengths. So generally any of the harsher mechanics heavy aim maps and the tapping maps like the DT2, DT3 are the ones we're going to be looking at here for Chile to mostly exploit, assuming Hong Kong opt in to not ban those, because double bans are allowed on double time, so they can get rid of those. But if I was to make a guess, it's probably going to be something along the lines of DT3 and between Hard Rock 3 and DT2 for Hong Kong bans.
Yeah, we've already seen at least one occasion of that Hard Rock 3 DT3 pair of bans from a team that was slightly weaker on paper on speed than their opponent. So maybe seeing that here again. It's going to be Chile to open things up. First ban, free mod 2. Did mention that, like, Chile has been a team that's usually been pretty good on the anti-mods, but they're going to be the ones banning out the small circle low approach rate. And that kind of tells us a little bit about maybe what their strategy is looking like. We expect them to pick into the mechanics. We expect them thus as well to want to avoid some of this reading type of material in the pool. And it's going to be DT1 as the first ban for Hong Kong.
Ooh.
You know, it's another map that's high BPM, has tapping requirement, AR 10.3 as well. So not overly surprising, and there is going to be the Hard Rock 3 ban as well, so maybe expected the DT3, but DT1, you know, a worthy substitution in that skill set.
Yeah, again, these are also valid picks. I don't know why I didn't mention DT1 as another potential candidate for the bans. Definitely more likely than DT2, to be honest. But yeah, no, solid bans here from Hong Kong. The 300 BPM DT3 is still open. Maybe Hong Kong are thinking that they might be able to cheese that, or maybe they secretly are able to hit some of these bursts occasionally outside of that really brutal guitar solo section later down the line on this map. But generally, maybe the stylistic choices that are in this DT3 map might actually be a little more up Hong Kong's alley than we may have expected. But regardless, solid bans from both teams. No mod 5 being the final ban here from Chile, just simply not wanting to deal with this overlap no mod reading, which I think makes sense. It's probably one of the next most valid ones to get out of. If it wasn't that one, it was probably going to be no mod 4. But regardless, the bans are done. Pick is also selected here from Hong Kong to start this one off. It's going to be free mod 1.
Yeah, and this is kind of a little bit of a somewhat basic entry point into this match, right? A very, you know, kind of consistency-focused free mod 1. We talked before the match that Hong Kong felt like they would be really into the aim control skill sets, maybe some ult and tech as well. So, you know, kind of a free mod aim pick does slot into that to a certain degree. I will say I don't think this has anything to do with Chile banning free mod 2, such incredibly different maps. This is just, I think, a good comfort pick for a team like Hong Kong, and it's a good way to get into this if you feel like you've got a comfy hidden player on it, you've got a comfy hard rock player on it, you're going to put yourself in a pretty good spot to open the match. And it feels like kind of a neutral ground, right? This isn't one of those really edge case skill sets. This is something that a lot of different players will be able to get into and perform well on. and Hong Kong hoping to maybe rely on some depth of roster in order to make a pick like this work out for them.
Yeah, I agree with this being a solid opening pick for Hong Kong. There are a few areas where Chile might be able to perform quite well, particularly with Mathy and Intercambing, generally kind of the classic staple players that could be very consistent with Hard Rock or Nomod, kind of interchanging between them. Suntan as well has been one of the more consistent players for Chile. One of the biggest arguments with this Chile team on whether or not they might be able to perform well against Hong Kong is their consistency, because I think quite a few teams this World Cup has looked a lot more shaky despite being a very good, solid roster on paper, and Chile unfortunately have been one of those victims in the last few World Cups, last few weeks of this World Cup, sorry. And last week we had a couple players that fell off quite a bit. The week before it kind of switched around where the same players struggled, but a different one popped off. And for Hong Kong, it's a bit of a different deal. Generally they've been quite consistent through and through. But safe to say that if Chile are really on that A game, they will perform massively and may even be able to get an opening breakpoint on this 3-mod-1. It's very much capable. It's very much kind of a consistency aim check with occasional 1/3 streams and a few difficult control sections that might hit you up generally a little harsh, but Hong Kong are no slouches on this, and their opening pick explains quite a bit, with the opening mod save being shown. MCY4 and Suwagi, the two mainstay carries for Hong Kong on the Nomad, with Misha Awa and Max Bierio sharing the two mods. For Chile, Intercambing on his signature Hard Rock and Suntan on his signature Hidden.
Yeah, and 2 early breaks there for Hong Kong, matched by 1 from Intercambing, so Chile will have a bit of an early lead. And Chile has been an interesting story. You talk a lot about Mathy and Intercambing, right? That super high skill cap duo for that team, really great on a lot of the DTs and the tapping maps. Intercambing has been a little bit hit or miss throughout this tournament, seeing if he can kind of turn up in these late stages where his skill cap will really shine, as there is the break coming from Max Bierio on the side of Hong Kong. But Nikore and Suntan, man, have quietly, and of course I say it and he misses immediately, but Nikore and Suntan have almost quietly been performing really, really well as a supporting pairing for Chile. So we'll see if that can continue here. It's a double FC on Nikore and Mathy, the lone FC on MCY4, recovery combo. Misha Awa and Suwagi is going to bring this back over for Hong Kong with a bit more supporting combo, but Max Bierio completely falls apart in that stream. No spacing, oh my god!
Oh, quite a few misses coming through for Hong Kong, but still the recovery leads in favor of Hong Kong. Mathy does miss, but Nikore does still manage to have that combo going. Hits the 1/3 and the sliders too, but MCY4 and Suwagi are really having a stronghold over this against Chile. Misha Awa as well on the Hidden, able to join in. Does go down, but still combo slightly in favor of Hong Kong, but it's getting tighter now. If Suwagi and MCY4 go down, it's going to be a little more close, as Suwagi does drop. MCY4 and Nikore both tying with the combos. Accuracy slightly in favor of MCY, but look at the score closing in slowly here for Chile. The collective recoveries in slight favor, but MCY4 and Nikore are still popping off. They have to keep their combos going. These are instrumental.
It is those 2 remaining FCs in the lobby that are going to be so huge, but Chile will be able to bring this over to their side with the superior supporting combo on Intercambing and on Suntan. A lot of players having a lot of trouble with those flow patterns on both sides, and there goes Misha Awa again. The score lead should be flipping over as Max Bierio falls once more, and you have all 4 members of Chile building up some amount of combo. Nikore still holding the FC. MCY4 can only watch. The score flips over. Misha Awa continues to struggle. The last quarter of the map upon us, 30,000 points, all in the favor of Chile, but oh my goodness. It's that support. It's that FC and the support. Nikore finally does break. MCY4 holds.
It's slowly ticking back straight afterwards. The jumps are still there, the notes are still present. MCY4's combo is high enough to maybe get the flip down. Suntan misses, but MCY4 trades, and that's enough for Chile to hold the line still. Mathy and Intercambing, good enough. Mathy's 500 and climbing towards the very end is going to push Chile ahead, just barely. But had MCY4 held on, had that combo still stayed, it could have been a very different story, but it's not going to be the case. Chile start this match off with a breakpoint.
That linear cross-screen 3-note jump was the demon that fells MCY4 in the near FC. It's an 860k, but it doesn't end up being enough. And man, just the clutch score there for Matthew with the big combo into the ending. Breakpoint to start things off. And that's the risk of picking a map like that first when it's not clearly into a certain skill set. It's anybody's game. And that proved it, as we instantly have an incredibly close map to start off this match. And Chile now has their own first pick to try to consolidate a breakpoint just like that.
Solid start there from Chile. I mean, safe to say it was really close. I mean, MCY4 was inches away from getting that flip certainly through, but it really seemed like the rest of Hong Kong supporting-wise were kind of crumbling towards the end. Granted, it was getting a little harder over time, but Chile just kept their nerve. Mathy and Intercamming were doing really solid despite not holding on to the biggest dealing combo there. Nakore may have missed before MCY4, but the support was enough to push them ahead. And that was a general theme, even while both Nakore and MCY4 were holding strong. And thankfully for Chile, that was enough to really get them going. And that in time gives Chile a few options to consolidate this breakpoint and give themselves an easy 2-point lead. And safe to say, their options are, at least for now, a lot more confident, a lot more easy to predict, right? It's probably going to be DT3, it's probably going to be DT2, maybe even normal 2, but that one's a little questionable because the BPM is very accessible for Hong Kong. So it does depend really on what they want to lean into. They still have some choices here, but I wouldn't be surprised to see one of those tapping picks immediately thrown in.
Yeah, I think DT3 is a very, very good Chile map, right? The finger control and speed tapping elements in this will be very good for their players, and there it is, the DT2 first pick for Chile. I mean, this map is just like mathy right down to the ground, right? One of the great bursty finger control players in the world, and the rest of that roster will be more than capable of backing him up. Hong Kong, really not a team known for this skill set. This has always been their sticking point. Historically, have just never been a team that really leans into higher speed and tapping focused picks. And so I think this one might be a little bit of a struggle for them, but we shall see what they might be capable of putting forward. But man, you've got Intercamming, you've got Mathy. Chile going to be locked in, I think, to a really good performance on a map like this.
Yeah, I mean, you hit the nail right on the head, right? This is a Mathy map. It's the name you definitely have to look out for. He played to an exceptional degree in the round of 16, did a decently good job in quarterfinals, but this time he really needs to pop off and keep Chile afloat so that they can contest this Hong Kong team, and so far he has done a good job. But there's still more to do. There's still 5 maps Chile need to win before they can say it's over. But the rest of Chile also have a great lineup for this. I mean, Intercamming as well, really solid on tapping, generally on paper. Gonza, I think, a boom or bust type of player, right? Generally, he's either going to have a decent middle-of-the-pack score or absolutely destroy on this map. And hopefully for Chile, that flip goes on the side that they want. But safe to say that Mathy is definitely the player to look out for here. Hong Kong do have a couple players to look out for, though. Suwagi, Kagasumira, MCY4, Max Birio, all 4 of them decently competent on this bursty speed. Maybe less so on the raw stamina on paper, but this burst is definitely still accessible, especially for Suwagi and MCY. Usually you wouldn't consider them to be strong stamina players, but I think for this 240 bursty speed, it's definitely a competent thing that Hong Kong can make the most of.
Yeah, I think, the discussion of this map makes it clear why Hong Kong went the direction they did with their bans going the Hard Rock 3 DT1, because those are, even higher BPM or higher speed, like raw speed requirements, whereas this one leans a little more into the bursts and the finger control, and has some of that aim control aspect to it as well. So if there was going to be one of these picks that Hong Kong might be able to contest, it was likely to be this one. That being said, you do still have to favor Chile on paper, but it is going to be a very early break from Gonza and Intercamming as well. So not starting off the way that Chile would have liked, but Kagasumira trades one of those breaks back, so things will, kind of just level out here in the early goings. Not a super long map, though, 2.5 minutes, so any break can be meaningful very quickly. And there goes Max Birio as well. 2 FCs to 2 for the team so far at about 500 combo in.
Yeah, still very even grounds, but as we get into the first Ki time, it's not really the speed that you're looking too hard into. It's some of these awkward slider aim and some of the finger control. There are a few doubles over these sliders that might trip you up if you're not fully prepared for them. But so far, so good here. Slightly in favor of Chile with the recoveries from Intercamming and Gonza still building. Suntan and Mathy battling Suwagi and MCY4, the dynamic duo of Hong Kong, still holding strong. And outside of that, no misses throughout that Ki time. we're going to be seeing a lot more bursts coming through soon, and maybe that might be an opening for Chile to exploit, as the speed is starting to hit just a little harder here. Keep an eye on Chile, keep an eye on Hong Kong's bigger combos, because this might be an opening where they could slip, but they haven't done it so far. The rest of Chile still doing great, but down goes Gonza and Suntan. A lot of the combos here now. Suwagi, though, does get the trade. Kagosumira does join as well. One full combo for one, but one giant recovery still there for Intercambing to give Chile an even bigger lead, even so. A great start here. Matthew and Intercambing really pulling the stop so far, but I wouldn't count it out just yet. There's still an opening here that MCY4 and Maxperio might be able to exploit.
Yeah, it's a 2v2 on the map for the moment, right? You've got Matthew Intercambing, you've got MCY4 Maxperio. The supporting combo growing a little bit higher for Chile here, though, so that lead does continue to expand out a bit.
Soon. Yeah.
Waiting to see any possible break from anybody in the late stages of this map to try to flip it around, but going to 400k, that break from Gonza is going to be relatively meaningless. It is still the other combos holding the 1FC to 1. MCY4, by the way, top ACK in the lobby despite the presence of Intercambing and Matthew on the other side, but it's going to all be for naught as we come into the ending, and this is going to be Chile. A solid performance on their own first pick. It's a consolidated break point by nearly 400,000. Matthew with the FC, MCY4 with the matching FC, but those backing scores just superior for Chile.
Yeah, one thing's for sure, both teams really did good on this one. 3 million on both sides. Solid attempt here from Hong Kong, especially with MCY4. Like you said, leading the lobby, outshining players like Intercambing and Matthew, who are staple mechanics stars in not only their own country, but internationally as well. Nicely done there from MCY4, but unfortunately not enough for Hong Kong to get that win or breakpoint. It ended up being a consolidated Chile win, a classic one as well. And in turn, it's 2-0. Hong Kong, though, do have their next pick coming up, and I think I'm really curious for what their approach is going to be, Aaron. What do you think? Do you think they're going to continue to lean into Fremod, more of the control techie picks? Do you think No Mod 4 is an option? Oh, I guess I don't have to ask you anymore. No Mod 4 is going to be picked here for Hong Kong.
Yeah, I was going to say I think it's either Nomad 4 or Fremod, or maybe even Fremod 4, which is a map that we haven't seen very much, but does kind of align with certain of the Hong Kong strengths. Because I do think that they probably stay with that kind of tech and aim control sides of this pool, which there are several picks available to them in. But the Nomad 4, man, this map is so difficult. I know we saw South Korea put up an insane score on it, but I feel like they're kind of an outlier in that regard. Most teams not going to do the kinds of things that South Korea did on a map like this. A very challenging aim control tech pick. Those overlap patterns that show up midway through, going to be insane. You see a lot of breaks on those, kind of those back and forth linear sort of almost square-shaped patterns. Really, really challenging. Of course, the slider tech elements as well in this, really, really rough. And, I think if you're Hong Kong, you're just avoiding anything that's going to be raw mechanics. So any of these maps that are tech-oriented, aim control-oriented, as I said, going to be where they'll stay, I think, throughout much of this match, and try to avoid the situations where Matthew and Intercambing can really go crazy on their mechanics maps. I like this pick for Hong Kong a lot. I think they need it. I think you need to get into this match early if you're Hong Kong. You don't want to let Chile have too much momentum, and they've already started that with the consolidated breakpoint 2-0 lead.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, like you've already mentioned, this No Mod 4 is brutal. Custom map here by Silica, and safe to say, they made this real testy. They made this very brutal. A lot of unique tech elements in this, but it is generally a wide tech test, right? You've got a lot of slider tech, you've got a lot of circle tech, you have a lot of aim control, a lot of tapping control, a little bit of reading in there as well. There was one particular section later down the line about just past the halfway mark into 3/4 mark with those brutal back and forth space burst areas there, and if you haven't prepared for that one, your combo will get destroyed. We've seen teams get fully wiped on multiple occasions from that pattern alone here. So if Hong Kong are prepared and perform well enough, which I wouldn't doubt, the potential is there, we might be able to see some very strong tech performances. MCY4 especially, one of the best tech control players on the planet here, but a map this difficult can trip up anyone. So although this is a good map for Hong Kong, I wouldn't expect the highest scores on this one. Like I said, Silica made this map no joke.
Yeah, such a challenging pick. We get Very strong rosters in this for both teams. Couple early breaks. Nikore and Suwagi going to trade them out. See who can settle into this the best. It's the next break to come from Intercambing. Suwagi falls again, but it's 3 FCs to 2 for Hong Kong. Max Burio, though, goes down. And there goes Hibiki as well as Suntan. And this map is really gritting its teeth at you already here. It is no full combos for Hong Kong already. Matthew goes as well. There's not a single full combo left in the entire lobby. Not a combo over 100. And,
oh my word.
Shiba, this is a little bit going to show the differences between the top couple of teams in the tournament and everyone else in the tournament, because everyone really struggling with this map, unfortunately. No meaningful combo really anywhere. 230 on MCY4 the best.
Yeah, although there aren't any significant combos at the moment, you can see the collective recoveries here from Hong Kong averaging out quite a bit higher than Chile, at least for now here. But you're seeing a lot of misses already. Nothing really majorly to speak of. Hibiki does miss. Suntan does go down as well. Max Burio joins in the misses too, but it's traded by Intercamming and Nikore straight afterwards. Nobody really able to get their foot off the starting point for just a long amount of time. MCY4 and Suwagi have finally made a bit of a breakaway, but I would not be surprised to see that combo go down soon. Suwagi misses. MCY4 last man standing here, but considering how low the rest of the combos are, this combo is instrumental here for MCY to continue holding. 107,000 score in the favor of Hong Kong. Matthew does miss. Suntan misses as well. Nikore and Intercamming really do not have a lot to speak of in order to contest what MCY4 is doing. MCY4 has the combo still going, hits the cuts as well. There's still more to go though. These spaced cut sections are so sharp. They're so precise, but MCY4's not letting go. This is a great return here from MCY. He finally falls, but I think the damage has already been done. The map is over.
And that is the carry performance that Hong Kong needed out of one of their top 2 players. MCY4 dropping the 518k, next best in the lobby, not even reaching 400,000 points. A real outlier in the lobby for MCY4, and it was exactly what Hong Kong needed there. The margin of victory, only 119,000. They needed every bit of that score, and when they asked, MCY4 answered the question, gets Hong Kong on the board. That was precisely what was needed to avoid, you know, a real rough spot in this match early on. Job done there on the Nomad for a very solid pick, as it turns out, thanks to some heroics from that carry player.
You know, like we said, Hong Kong as a roster are quite solid, but there is anybody you should really be scared of on something like that, it's MCY4, one of the best tech control players on the planet, period. You know, such a great score, such outstanding performances, especially on probably the hardest area of the map as well, you know? Able to build such high valuable combo at a part of the map that you consider everyone to just completely collapse on is really impressive, and goes to show how much MCY4 is able to handle that pressure and able to handle that burden of being that superstar carry that Hong Kong needs on a map as difficult as this. But that being said, Hong Kong do get that pick down, but they are still 1 point down below. Chile still can keep this 2-point gap ahead if their next pick goes well, and I would not be surprised to see this DT3 picked straight afterwards.
Yeah, I think the DT pool obviously going to be the domain of Chile in this match. I'm getting a little bit of an audio glitch here, but it is going to be the DT4. It's high AR time. It is high AR time. Not the raw tapping that you might have expected out of a map like the DT3, but instead we're going to go air 10.5, some finger control, and some awkward patterning. Something a little different, right? You don't see a lot of maps or much less songs like this in a lot of pools, but Chile wants to continue exerting their will in the DT pool in general, have very good high AR players, so pick, I think, another solid one for them.
Yeah, agreed. This isn't too bad of a pick here for Chile, but I'm not gonna lie, I feel like this is a little shoddy still. I'm not too familiar with how much Hong Kong can perform on particularly the super high AR, but regardless, the way this is mapped is definitely something that's up Hong Kong's alley. Suwagi and MCY4 could absolutely own on this, but assuming that Chile know maybe a little bit of a weakness on the high AR, particularly for Hong Kong, this is not a bad pick for Chile regardless. This is still a good pick for them. I'm just a little worried about Hong Kong's control ability on this. I feel like there might be some potential for a breakpoint on this.
Yeah, I think out of the 4 double time picks, and if you want to toss in Hard Rock 3, the 5 kind of more tapping focused picks in a row there, this is definitely the one that feels like Hong Kong has the best chance on. And it's the sort of map, sure, we saw Australia nearly 4-way this last night. You're not anticipating that too often, though. Most of the time, I think what you can expect is if you get one player, maybe 2 with an FC or a very good scorer, you can put yourself into a position to succeed on this map. And with a lineup that has Suwagi and MCY4 on it, that's always in the cards for Hong Kong. It's always a possibility. On the other side, though, it's the Intercamming Matthew show again. Suntan still in, Chalk Gamer coming in. It's also a very scary roster on a map like this. You gotta respect what they can bring to the table on these types of maps. I think this pick is very likely to be very contested, but it's so easy to break on any little one of those kind of aim control tapping patterns that it does feel a little bit more of a volatile pick than some of the other DTs. So excited to see what the teams have to offer on this map. Because, like you said, this is a spot where Hong Kong could maybe, just maybe, find that break point back while still using up one of Chile's favorite DT picks.
Yeah, I think the big question mark for me is how much Hong Kong are going to be able to handle this high AR particularly. I don't think I am actually worried about that control. It's very much on how consistent they can be on the 10.5. Very early on here, we're seeing a miss there from MCY. A little bit of jitters to start this one off, but this map is it is brutal. It is quite brutal on the control. You got a lot of doubles, you got a lot of space snaps, you have a few slider moments, and it just hits you on multiple angles very quickly. But for Chile, it seems like it's pretty good for them so far. Only an early miss there from Matthew, but it is joined by a miss from Chalk Gamer. So as we emphasize that advantage, it's already flipped back on the side of Hong Kong with MCY4's recovery able to outshine Matthew and Chalk Gamer combined, at least for now.
I worry about the comfort level of a few different players in this lobby. MCY4 falls for the second time. Kagasamiri down at 95 AC. Max Bureau at 96 AC. 95 and 96 on Chalk Gamer and Matthew as well. See what those players continue to look like over the course of the map. Low AC can often mean that you're a little bit uncomfortable with either, the tapping element of this or the high AR. So we'll see how those players continue to do throughout. But it is still holding on to the triple FC for Hong Kong for now. That lead is so minimal though, Shiba. It's 25k. And the accuracy helping out Chile to try to bring it back over their way as they have recovery combo on 2 members despite being down in FC.
This is still extremely tenuous here. The repeated struggle here from MCY4 is pulling back the 3 combos from Hong Kong, at least for now here. Chalk Gamer and Matthew have recovered beautifully, but there's Intercamping, and that's a big combo down now. Hong Kong will be able to establish that lead as long as none of the other combos continue to miss here. MCY4's recovery also solid here, managing to regain a little bit of footing here in this map. Suwagi, Kagasamiro, and Max Berio still with full combos intact here. We're going into final third. A few extra bigger sliders here that might trip you up on the slider miss, and it does! So MCY4 goes down again. Oh, no. Kagasamiro goes down. Suwagi misses, but it is traded by Suntan. Chalk Gamer joins too. It's just Max Berio left on his own. As we get into the final quarter of the map, it's still close, but Chile do not have a lot of combo left here. It's just Intercamming with 200. Max Berio not only needs to miss, but the rest of Hong Kong need to collapse their recoveries to give Chile a lead. It's still tenuous, but Max Berio misses on air before the next KI time, and this could get very, very close here. Intercamming alongside the rest of Chile are building recoveries. It's closing in really quickly, but the time is ticking. Intercamming has to hold. The rest of the recoveries are starting to gain here for Chile. Suwagi and MCY4 trying to fight, but there's not enough combo. How much time does Chile have? It's 30,000 closing in. Intercamming needs to hold. He needs to keep it going, but the time is so close. 107 points for Chile. Just barely take the map.
The last second flip of a lifetime for Chile. 107 points. You thought it couldn't get any closer than that DT2 last week. These guys are here to say, no, we can make this one of the closest individual maps in the history of the World Cup. Any miss, any note, any 100... and it would have gone the other way. The last second heroics, man. The combos holding into the end from Chile. And it is cinema. It is cinema in this lobby. Chile holds their breakpoint advantage by the smallest of margins for the 3-1 lead. 107 points.
107! 107! T1G! That's ridiculous! That's a single 300 from any player at any time would have led to a Hong Kong win. Isn't that insanity to you?
Oh my,
that's absurd.
It is what we hoped for. It's what you always come into a match as a spectator or a commentator hoping for. Just the closest possible outcome that you are ever likely to see. It's heartbreak for Hong Kong, though, who felt like they could have had that map for much of it. But Chile just dug their heels in and refused. They pulled and pulled and managed to get the lead over to their side by the barest of margins. And now you got to recover. Now you got to go into the next pick for Hong Kong, which is going to be this hidden 3. And you got to say, all right, I know that just happened, but we can still contest this match. We can still keep it going. And we've got to pick for ourselves here that we've got to continue to win.
Indeed it is. Hong Kong still have a match to play. Chile still have a match to play. Hidden 3 next here for Hong Kong. I'm still a little shell-shocked from the fact that we might have just witnessed the closest map in OS World Cup history. We need to get a historian to track if this is really the closest, but
2018 Bubble Man, 70 points against United States, UK versus USA. Yeah, this is the second closest that I know of off the top of my head, but that only goes so far.
Yeah. How could I forget about that? My own country. How could I forget? You're right. Yeah. Anyway, back to the match, shall we? Hidden 3. This one's a doozy. Rhythmic mechanics, right? It's got rhythmic fitting control. It's got streamy 200 BPM mechanics. Tons of control everywhere. Rhythm changes, aim control. It's all over the place, T1G.
It is, and again, it's going back into that skill set that Hong Kong, really wants to lean into in this match on their own picks. Kind of going the same direction as they did with the Nomad 4, where you're just really focusing the hard aim control. This time with Hidden, which is a mod pool that we haven't seen a lot of out of these teams. They really haven't been playing a ton of Hidden. 0 combined Hidden maps between them in quarterfinals last week, so something a little bit new there. But again, you bring in a really strong roster for Hong Kong with M2I4 Suwagi, Misha Awa, Max Burio to see what they can do. And another one of these maps that really throws you right into it. Right from the start, you get those brutal flow aim tapping patterns, especially with Hidden added on. And you've already seen 4 breaks out of, you've seen Suwagi, Max Burio, Alfeu, and number 37, no 37 going down as well, and Matthew and Suntan 2. It's literally MCY4 in the lobby.
Already, everyone is collapsing on this map. Another theme similar to the No Mod 4. This map just being so difficult, hits you so quickly with its raw difficulty. But it is MCY4 once again to be the main man standing for Hong Kong to give them a lead. But still by a decently small margin here. 3 members of Chile still have those recoveries high and climbing here. With the Misha Awa missing at the same time as around number 37, it's still looking relatively tenuous. This single combo from MCY4 is giving a very close lead, but still established here in favor of Hong Kong. As we get into the next quarter of the map here, MCY's accuracy is phenomenal as well. That score is going to scale very highly later down into the map, which could give a bit of a slowdown here if somebody else misses here from Hong Kong. But it's still really tenuous. And number 37 is building a recovery, tied by Misha Awa, but the gain is still going for Hong Kong. 60k and a very slowly climbing.
And Matthew to drop right before this slightly slower part is going to be instrumental for Hong Kong trying to build this lead out. His accuracy was already not the greatest in the lobby. Going to help things out even a little bit more. Those combo drops with low-ish accuracy always going to be very beneficial for the other team. Max Burio, though, also down at 95, as is Suwagi. So, relatively even. It's a break from M2I4.
Oh my god, no way.
FC gone. They do have a lot of combo on the other 3 members. Suwagi matching Suntan, Max Burio, and Misha Awa on the good recoveries as well. There goes No 37, Alfeu, and Mathy. So even with that M2I4 break, Hong Kong's still going to be an okay spot. Suwagi, Max Burio holding on. It is all on the shoulders of Suntan CDM to try to keep this in touch for Chile. But for now, Hong Kong, oh no, it's a 1v1 now.
It's getting close now. Suntan has a chance to get this comeback through. Chile's recoveries are slightly in the hand. MCY4 had missed on nothing earlier on, and that's a tragedy. But it might be a crisis averted as long as Suwagi can still keep his team intact. As we get into the BPM change, it's a little slow here. Goes into 1/3, but will ramp up very, very soon and will get a lot harder. Can Suwagi pass the test? Can Suntan pass the test? Accuracy slightly in the favor of Suntan for Chile. As the recoveries here for Chile are gaining just a little bit. That miss from Matthew's not going to help, though. Number 37 joins, and Suntan finally falls. Out for you joins. A complete collapse here from Chile, and Suwagi's not backing down one bit. Does finally collapse towards the very end, but Hong Kong have got enough score to run into the sunset.
And that was exactly what Hong Kong needed here. They just kept that combo up on their members for long enough. The score gap going out to 200k in their favor as Chile all fell just before gave them that advantage. Just a couple of chain misses come through and a bunch of resets came through. And Hong Kong now going to be in that 200,000 point advantage coming into the ending. Again, getting what they needed out of one of these really challenging picks in the aim control and flow aim kind of department. They need all of these maps to go well for them, and that's 2 of them with the Nomad 4 and the Hidden 3. Still searching for that break point, but it's another solid pick for Hong Kong. They avoid dropping a second break point. They put up another solid team score, despite the best efforts of Suntan top scoring the lobby. It's Hong Kong as the team performance. 3-2 goes this score, but you really start to feel like these skill sets are getting tighter and tighter as this pool starts to constrict a little. 4 bans and 5 picks means 9 maps gone from this pool. I know, crazy math. I passed the second grade at arithmetics, but it is going to start meaning that these picks become a little closer fought even as we go on and on.
I would agree. I mean, Hong Kong's options are still there, as with Chile's, but I'd probably only say there are about 2 more maps left that are a little bit more on the confident side from both sides. Outside of that, it's tenuous, it's scary. You know, you're looking at the DT3 for Chile, and potentially the No Mod 2, maybe even No Mod 1. And if you are Hong Kong, I mean, you're looking at both of those free mods as good potential. Maybe even the Hidden 2, maybe, just maybe. You know, we saw what Suntan and number 37 have done in the past. Suntan already just now proved a very scary omen for Hong Kong on the Hidden. So I'm curious for how that future is going to unleash, but Chile are not going to go into either of the picks that we fully claimed. It's going to be the No Mod 1, that tertiary option that we thought would be available there for Chile. They're going to be going for it straight away. Hasu, Warcry, mapped, storyboarded, and designed in the background by Melon Boy. I think this one has been a fan favorite, and I refuse to stop glazing how good this map really is. What a great No Mod 1. It's a stamina aim consistency test, constantly straining you over and over with not, and I mean this, not a single break to cool you down. You will constantly be hit over and over and over with jumps and bursts to test your stamina and your consistency.
This just continues to be one of the most popular maps of this pool for the entire week. We'll have seen it in all but one of the matches so far, including the show match. Everybody just loves this pick. The raw aim consistency, so different, right? A lot of No Mod ones you see are kind of diff spikes. You have, you know, the Ki diff spikes, the guitar solo or similar diff spike. This one just throws the kitchen sink at you, and then it goes to the bathroom and gets the tub and throws that at you too. It does not ever give you a second of respite, and Chile is counting on that with their stamina on both tapping and aim to be incredibly valuable. That being said, this feels a little bit like the free mod 1 where it could be a little volatile because this aim skill set is something that a lot of people can play, and Hong Kong no exception in that regard.
Yeah, I mean, the stamina is really the big question mark I have here for Hong Kong. This aim consistency is not really a question for me. They have incredible players that can do great work on their Suwagi MCY4. Always not only so flexible, but especially on aim. Love this type of aim consistency. However, it is the strain that worries me here for Hong Kong. Hibiki and Max Spiro to fill the 2 slots here. Chile have not only solid aim players, but mechanical marvels who thrive on stamina. able to play some of the most stamina-intensive maps in the game, period, let alone in tournaments, let alone in OWC. So this one, I mean, for some, is probably going to be a walk in the park stamina-wise. I mean, Intercamping and Mathy immediately to look at here to not really have an issue with stamina. It's more consistency. That's a question mark with that one. So, you know, will it be the consistency to throw off for Chile, or will it be the stamina to be thrown off here for Hong Kong? Hong Kong still need a break point. They need to even out the playing field without giving Chile that advantage of a break point. It needs to be soon. Otherwise, it's going to get more and more dangerous. Here we go into Warcry.
Once more unto the breach. This map has been some cinematic performances. We've seen incredible scenes. We've seen heartbreak. We have seen elation on this map. And which of those will it be, and for whom this time around? Man, South Korea dropped an incredible score on this a little bit ago in their match against Germany. We'll see if either of these teams can do the same. It is going to be Suntan and Hibiki trading a couple early breaks, and Nikori the next to fall. And these are 4 players that, for both of these teams, that have been so steady and so strong throughout this tournament, right? Suntan and Nikori, such great performers alongside Intercamping and Mathy, but down to just 1 FC already for Chile. It is just Mathy remaining. All of the misses for Hong Kong have been consolidated into Hibiki. MCY4 Suwagi and Max Burio all holding on to the FCs despite the multiple breaks from Hibiki. The lead going their way here in the early stages.
Although this map doesn't give you a break, there are still instances of a few of the changes here. You can go from just traditional, regular, sorted jumps into these slider jump combos as well. The map also consistently tests your tapping consistency with these burst jump scares that are not only forced to keep your toes up, but also forced to keep your tapping a little bit extra strained, right? Sometimes if that stress really hits you, you'll tense a little extra hard just so you can hit that burst. And with that miss from MCY4 coming through here for Hong Kong, it's getting a little closer here. Recoveries from Chile are starting to climb. Mathy's full combo is still there to contest Suwagi. With Hibiki going down as well, Max Burio needs to keep that 2 combo ahead to keep Hong Kong going, but it's still slowly gaining for Chile, but Nikori does miss. And this is going to even out the playing field massively until Max Burio misses. Constant back and forth misses. It's trading everywhere, and the flip is going to come through for Chile.
And it's just 1 FC remaining per team. It's Suwagi and Mathy on the full combos, but Suntan and Intercamping have recovered so well since their early breaks. First few hundred combo, and ever since, it has been cool, calm, and collected for those 2 players. Suntan and Intercamping. No, it's a break from Intercamping. So now we have Mathy FC, Suntan backing combo, Suwagi FC, but the combined backing combo for Hong Kong not where it needs to be, and Hibiki struggling. There goes Suwagi. The FC is gone. And now it is Mathy free to fly. Finally breaks as well, though. And it's Suntan, though. It is still Suntan, and there's another break from Max Burio. It is Suntan, the big combo. It is MCY4 doing everything he can, but not getting the support he needs, and that lead's still going to stay with Chile into the last quarter of the map.
Indeed. It's 162,000 difference. Hibiki not able to get his feet off the starting point, and Suntan's recovery as well, able to back up Mathy. You know, you'd think, you know, a trade from Mathy is invaluable considering that Suwagi had missed earlier on, but Suntan's recovery still stands, and very tall so above the rest of Hong Kong. MCY4 is all that's left to hold the fort for Hong Kong, but there isn't enough left. There's nothing left in the tank here for the rest of the Hong Kong team. Suwagi's made an attempt, Max Burio's made an attempt, but it's not enough. Suntan, not only with one of the highest accuracies in the lobby, if not the highest right now, will be securing that reverse choke to give Chile a great win once again. It looked really tenuous for quite a while there, Aaron, but it does seem like finally Chile make the breakaway and secure a victory.
And man, you just gotta feel for Hibiki on that one. Unfortunately, a lot of that margin of victory for Chile was on that bottom score compared to some of the other scores on the team. But shout out Suntan, like you said, reverse choke, very early miss. Kind of the opposite of what Mathy did, both in that 13 to 1400 combo range and putting up a 722k and a 697k respectively. Really strong performances leading the way. Just a little bit better across the board for this Chile team on that pick, and they still continue to defend that break point. The Nomad one was maybe an opportunity for Hong Kong, but doesn't end up happening. Like you said, Chile runs away with it in the end. Hong Kong quickly into the free mod 3 as the picks continue to dwindle. We go back into the free mod pool for the first time since the first pick of the match.
Unfortunately, Hong Kong not able to consolidate it once again, slipping away from their fingers with valiant attempts from multiple members of their team, just not able to get that breakaway to cut even. But it's still possible for Hong Kong to keep the flow going for now. Free Mod 3, a map that a lot of us expected to be one of those signature Hong Kong picks, has been locked in here. Nuwashi Kamuri mapped by Down. This is a cut stream control fiasco. And
control aim has gone well for Hong Kong on their last couple of picks. I would say about the opposite of a fiasco when you look at those scores that players like Suwagi and MCY4 put up on the Hidden 3 and on the Nomad 4. So I very much understand this pick as a logical progression of the previous ones. Winning by, what, 223k on the Hidden 3, 119k only on the Nomad 4. These points are so closely contested, but it has felt like Hong Kong found kind of their niche in this match with these types of picks. And this is a pretty much must-win, as it has felt like so many of their picks have been, but down 4-2. Free Mod 3 is a gotta-have-it moment here for Hong Kong.
Yeah, it really is. If Chile managed to slip away with this one, it kind of seems like it might be all but over. It does feel like we're finally starting to see Chile regain that consistency, right? Which is a great thing, right? I think a lot of us were doubting Chile a little bit. We thought Chile have looked really shaky throughout this whole tournament, really uncertain. But this time they are pulling a lot of stops. They are pulling those super high scores, and they are able to contest Hong Kong on a lot of maps. This one could potentially be no exception, especially with Santana number 37 playing. Decamping and Mathy, the two staples of the team, still sticking around to fill in those fourth slots. But Hong Kong do like this. Down, a mapper very well known for his sporadic, scary, and consistently inconsistent difficulty with the flow and the control, right? Loads of cuts, loads of scary patterns that if you are not prepared for, if you do not expect from a map like this, could trip you up massively. Considering how there are cut streams, you could see a few chain misses, you could see a lot of accuracy drops, and with a map this short, you would expect it also to be very dense in difficulty, but it's even tighter than that. This map actually has slowdown sections with just tells you how brutal some of these harder parts really are. Suwagi, Misha Awa, Max Bureau for MCY4, Hard Rock for MCY4 with Hidden for Misha Awa, Suntan on the Hard Rock, and number 37 on the Hidden. Unexpected Hard Rock here from Suntan, but accepted nonetheless, and hopefully it's going to be the boon that Chile need to take this one to match point.
And it's starting off well for Chile as Misha Awa really struggling in the early stages here. This map throws you right to the wolves with the aim control requirements of these little back and forths and the aim control streams in the intro. It's intercamming to fall, but Suwagi and Misha Awa and Suntan all join him, as does MCY4. And it is Max Burio, the only combo for Hong Kong. Meanwhile, No 37 and Mathy on those big combos. The FC99-8-1-100 for No 37 on the Hidden. One of the best performances we've seen through the early stages of this map for anyone this whole weekend. Some more big flow patterns coming in. But look at that lead already, 300k for Chile.
Here we are into the ramp up, and Chile already have a really strong advantage here. Number 37, though, does finally go down on the Hidden, with Mathy still left to fight. But there's a lot of score, like we said here, for Chile. Hong Kong really can't get any combo really high enough to contest. It's only Max Burio on his own. Mathy does miss, though, and so that combo from Max Burio could be what breaks away here for Hong Kong. They still have a lot to gain. The recoveries from Misha Awa and MCY4 are solid, but Suntan Intercamping are able to contest. It's Max Burio uncontested with a solid advantage with Suwagi and number 37 over the recovery here. Does Hong Kong have enough time? The score is starting to slow down, but it's ticking. The pie chart is starting to fill up. There's not a lot of time left here for Hong Kong, but does Max Bureau have enough? There's still cuts to go. The next part of the map is still to come, and it's really brutal. It's so unforgiving, but the flip is there. Max Bureau does miss, but MCY4 and Misha Awa have his back. What looked so doubtful towards the start, what looked like almost certain there for Chile, ends up becoming a comeback blessing for Hong Kong. They take the map, and another breakpoint conceding is not going to happen.
It's just cinema on top of cinema on top of cinema. This match continues to deliver map after map. The flip and just rocketed on over. Did that scoreline. That was crazy clutch stuff from Hong Kong in the last quarter of the map. A really, really crazy movement of the score in the last moments. But all those big combos for Hong Kong and a little bit of a misstep from Chile near the end of the pick. Man, oh man, this match just delivering every which way. Another close scoreline, 185k. I mean, when was the last time we had a match that was decided by more than 300,000 points? You have to go all the way back to DT2 as the second map of the match. Everything since then has been a battle, and now it comes down to just the last few picks. It is Chile with the 4-3 lead. They still have that breakpoint advantage despite everything that has happened. Breakpoint on the first map of the match, and we have played 6 more maps since then. Chile just holding the advantage, holding the line the whole way through, and their own pick to come to try and force a match point in their favor. And you can tell the nerves starting to hit just a little bit here, that the timeout request coming in. So Shiba, we're going to finally have a quick second. We're going to have a little extra time in this one. Everybody can take just a tiny little deep breath and think about what we've seen and think about what's to come. We've got Nomad 2 DT3 left for Chile if they want to go into tapping. We've got, that Free Mod 4 still untouched this weekend. Where do we think they go to try to give themselves the match point?
Well, Chile, I mean, it really does seem like they can put up a fight against Hong Kong on just about anything. But if we're really looking at how strong they are on paper, you got to look at DT3, I think, as an obvious one. I feel like the use of the timeout most of the time is either used to cool yourself down after a bit of a stress situation, or option B, to practice for a very specific type of map. And this DT3 is quite specific, 300 BPM raw speed. It's no slouch, and I think Chile are the team that really want to make the most of that one. That being said, though, considering this was one of the Tavern Mechanics maps that Hong Kong didn't ban, you're a little less uncertain about it. But regardless, I mean, 300 BPM is 300 BPM, and Chile do like their speed. So I'm assuming that that's going to be the most likely option. If they wanted to, they could go into the Hard Rock 1, as Chile do have really solid Hard Rock players and really solid aim players. I feel like another choice could be No Mod 2, but I feel like that map is so accessible, you more want to look at that one as a potential coin flip, right? It's got a lot of space parts on the most predictable parts of the map, the peaks of the KI times and the ending, where the streams really hit a peak where most players will end up collapsing. So I think if Chile want to try and go into something that they know they can lock in a win on, it is most likely to be that DT3, if not the Hard Rock 1. Do you think there's anything different, T1G? Do you think there's any other options?
And I don't. I really, this is the point in the match where it starts to become a big challenge to find those picks. So I think you just have to look at what are we best at historically, and let's just lock into that type of option. And it's going to be
Nomad
2. So they are going to go the tapping route, but it's going to be the Nomad 2 instead of the DT3. I guess they just know something we don't about that DT3, the fact that they are leaving it unselected until possibly even their last pick. So my heart will go on Flow, Stamina, 200 BPM. Obviously, the emotions tied up in this map with it having been created by Mackie Donalds. A lot on the line here in this moment for the players, but of course taking a moment to think about somebody who has left us in the community behind, unfortunately. But this is a map that I really think either team can be victorious on. Hong Kong is a pretty good flow aim team. They're not great at raw speed, but they've historically been pretty good at flow tapping. So this feels, like you said, a little accessible and a little scary for that reason.
Yeah, mapped by, like we said, mapped by the late Mackie Donalds. A legendary Dragon Force song mapped by an irreplaceably legendary player as well. Left us too soon, unfortunately. But our hearts will go on, as will his legacy and this map. This one, like we've said, it is 200 BPM. I think that's one of the things that makes me a little less confident in this for Chile. I mean, not to say that Chile can't tap 200 BPM, it's more that this is pretty accessible for Hong Kong. Suwagi and MCY4 have improved a lot on this tapping BPM. It's not really like they're going to struggle on this. Same with Kagasamira and Max Birio. It is that sharp flow aspect that makes me very uncertain on who could win this. It really could go any other way. I feel like the most likely players to look at here in terms of the most consistent flowing players would probably be MCY4 on the side of Hong Kong and Intercamming on the side of Mathy. But outside of that, sorry, Intercamming on the side of Chile, not on the side of Mathy. Intercamming on the side of Chile. But Mathy's also a pretty good player on this one, but I'd say MCY4 and Intercamming are the most likely players to be very high performance on. But the spacing on these streams are brutal, and it can really trip up anyone. Anyone could hit these as well. So here we go into My Heart Will Go On, a pivotal map here, not only in its representation as a map period, but also in the stakes of this match.
You just got to take a deep breath, grit your teeth, gird your loins, and head into it. There is nothing left at this point. A map like this feels like it is so binary. You can FC it, or you can fall off a stream and miss 30 times, and you just don't know which it's going to be until you play it. Will we see maybe some note lock on somebody? You know, you can so easily fall and just struggle. But we will see. It's been Mathy and Intercamming to look so strong on these tapping picks for Chile over the course of the tournament. Nikore Suntan backed them up very well time and time again. But Hong Kong has proven the ability to clutch up in a lot of picks so far. And this would be a big opportunity for them if they can do something like that once again. I recall back a few years ago, they won a Nomad 2 against the United States, that they were vastly favored against them, but it's breaks. It's 4 misses altogether. Kagasamira, Suwagi, Nikore, and Mathy. 4 FCs gone, 4 FCs remaining.
Oh, next stream session as well is going to trip up MCY4. That's a really big miss to go down here for Hong Kong. Like we said, a player that we really look at to be one of the main factors that could perform very well on this, but it's not going to be so far. It's Max Birio to be the last combo standing here for Hong Kong. Intercamming and Suntan still have that combo intact to give Chile a very strong advantage there. Another miss from Mathy, but not really the one you're still looking for here. Recovery from Nikore is also solid, enough to contest Kagasumire. So this lead from Chile is going to continue gaining, but we are just halfway through, and we are going into the next Ki time. Again, more streams, more intense flow aim. We could see a complete collapse from either side, or we could see everyone full combo just about everything. We'll have to wait and see. Nikore is the first to miss. A solid recovery there from Chile, but it's not the full combo you're looking for here. Max Birio is trying his hardest. He is banking on somebody here from Chile of the significant combos to miss here. But Suntan and Intercamming aren't letting them go at all. Intercamming's accuracy is also phenomenal. Like we said, a pivotal member on this team who had looked so quiet throughout this tournament is now really shining through and giving Chile the pop-up that they need. Everyone hits those streams, and Chile still keep that lead, but it's tenuous. It's gained down. Considering the recoveries here from Hong Kong, it's starting to gain a little bit with Kagasumira, Suwagi, and MCY4 bringing the support here for Max Birio, but he misses. Nikore also trades, but it's 2 full combos against 3 really potent recoveries. Is there going to be enough time here? Mathy's combo is also quite high. Someone has to miss. Suwagi Kagasumira is also down, and that might just solidify it now. With the 2 full combos still intact there for Chile, MCY4 can only do so much as he falls. Does Suntan get the full combo? Does Suntan end this off in style? Suntan! No, he's down. He may pop off towards the end, but unfortunately it's not enough to full combo it. But regardless of that, Chile are 1 map away from advancing to face Russia.
And now we know why they picked this Nomad 2 here, man. Those scores from Intercamming and from Suntan, unbelievable. So strong the whole way through. Yeah, they both had a bunch of misses, but it's chain misses. It's a Nomad 2. That's just what happens. And Chile, man, oh man, they put in work on that pick. It felt dangerous for so much of that map, but, you know, it's so easy to look at Chile and to think about Intercamming and to think about Mathy, but Suntan has been so strong for that team and showing it here once more. And it is match points on the remaining 2 picks. It is 1 pick for Hong Kong. If they win that, it'll be a last pick to Chile. Both opportunities for Chile to close out this match, as you said, to advance for that matchup against Russia. So the last pick for Hong Kong, their last stand, their last line of defense is going to be a tricky one. We still have yet to see a free mod 4 this entire weekend. Maybe not the direction to go in, but the aim control has kind of dwindled down in this pool. So their options are getting more limited, as we said might happen in this match. You're getting to the point where you're picking kind of the best of what's left instead of having an optimized map for your team. And that's a situation where Hong Kong finds themselves in for this last pick of their own.
I think what makes this so scary here for Hong Kong is that even though number 3 is a good option here, whether or not they win, that DT3 is still open for Chile. I mean, surely now picking DT3 is going to be the most obvious choice. Chile have been quite brave, but quite smart with their pick strategy. Confident enough to go into a map as sporadic and dangerous as the number 2. Still coming out intact with a smile and saying, hey, look, we're at match point and we still got that DT3 open. Pick whatever you want. You know, we're still going to have a scary map that you're not going to want to go against us on. So, yes, this number 3 is a solid one, but whether or not that happens, Hong Kong need a huge blessing in that next DT3 pick. I do not doubt one bit Chile are going to pick that.
Yeah, but I mean, you really, you got to take it one map at a time, right?
Yeah.
We have that DT3 pick in the back of our mind for what Chile may go into next. And Hong Kong knows that that is a likelihood as well, but they've still got to play this No Mod 3. They've still got to win this No Mod 3. It has only been, as we said, the one break point in this entire match, and it was the first pick of the entire thing. There's only been one map this entire match with a score difference of more than 300,000 points between the teams as well. This has been so tightly contested the whole way through, and there's no reason to expect the No Mod 3 to be any different. And with that in mind, you have to be 110% locked in and ready to go for this map for both of these teams. You can't overlook this if you're Hong Kong and think we win this for free. Let's start thinking about Chile's last pick. And if you're Chile, you're thinking we could take a break point and close out the match right now. Yeah,
absolutely. I think this map, although definitely mapping-wise in favor of Chile, the sheer precision on this alone does have a couple members of Chile, raising their eyebrows and be like, this seems like something I might like, especially with intercamming and Mathe around. Nokore as well, pretty solid. Suntan being able to just do well on just about everything at this point. But Suwagi, MCY4, Stillick, all three have good proficiency on this style. Another thing that I think we've forgotten to mention just yet, this is the OS original outside of the tiebreaker here at the semi-final stage for the OS World Cup. Nagiha, OS original, Valdez, mapped by Yaspo. It's a CS6 AR 9.6, a very unique map. Considering what the No Mod 3 slot usually is, it is precision swing control. A lot of doubles, a lot of weird patterns, and that CS6 can really test you sometimes. So we'll have to wait and see what goes through here. Early misses already, though. A lot of players struggling to adjust early on into this map. A triple miss there from Hong Kong, with Matthew only being the single miss on the side of Chile. Another miss there from Suwagi as well. Not a good start here from Hong Kong, but we're still early days. A lot of potential for some more misses.
Yeah, unfortunately, those more misses coming from Suwagi, which is not the player you can afford to have breaks on if you're Hong Kong. It is Suntan to trade it out, and there goes Nokore as well, so that will stabilize a bit, but Slock is going to break also. This is his first map this entire match, I believe, which is quite the scenario to walk into the room to see. Shades of Donald Glover in that famous scene from Community with everything on fire. It is MCY4, though, to hold the FC, as well as Max Birio on the recovery combo. Intercamming and Matthew, though. Who else? The famed duo from Chile to hold this lead out by just over 100,000 points, reaching the halfway mark. Suwagi is recovering, as are Nokore and Suntan. This is going to stay a battle. Only 100,000 points between the teams thus far.
It's still close. Recovery is quite nicely established here for Hong Kong. It seems like they've managed to make a recovery, but there's Steluk And that's a big miss to go down. Chile still have those recoveries intact, but Matthew does miss, and that's one of the full combos shut down here for Chile. Nikori and Suntan, though, still strong. Suntan misses as well. It's slowly closing in a bit here as Hong Kong starts to establish a bit more of a combo advantage here, but as long as intercamping holds with this great accuracy as well, leading the lobby, it's gonna be still a valuable one, but intercamping does miss, and the scoreline... But MC4 trades. Suwagi and Nikori are battling it out. Max Birio uncontested here. A double miss there from Chile. Still up trades, but it's not a good enough trade here. Max Birio does go down, and it's a full collapse for Hong Kong. Nikori misses as well. It's a collapse everywhere, T1G. No one is able to build a significant combo, but this scoreline says it all. Chile, through I think a few people's doubts. Is there enough? I'm not sure.
There's so little combo anywhere. Matthew has 200. He falls into, well, wait just a second. It's only 80k in the last notes. No.
That's it. It's done.
That's it.
Oh, my word. I thought it was over. Thank you, T1G. That looked actually kind of scary towards the end, but it doesn't matter. What's done is done. Chile will take the match against Hong Kong, fighting their way through. Such a rocky start to this tournament, but now finally able to take that strong win against a daunting opponent like Hong Kong. Hong Kong are out of the Yost World Cup, and Chile will advance to face Russia very, very soon. In fact, in a few minutes, I believe, unless our players have accepted a break request. Outside of that, though, Chile take it.
Yeah, I think they're going to be going pretty much straight into that, so it's just going to be a second to kind of put a brief cap on this match. That is an incredible performance from Chile. They get straight into things against Russia soon. But man, what a match we just saw. All of those points so incredibly close. A battle the entire way through. But Chile just emerging 107 points, right? I mean, how much closer could this one have been besides that? Hong Kong gonna be eliminated here in top 12. Chile gonna be going on to top 8, so they will match their seeding and an opportunity to advance on into top 6 against Russia presenting itself. We're in crazy scenes here, Shiba, but man, what a match, and what another match we have to come right after it too.
Yeah, absolutely. You can't help but look at that DG4 and think, wow, that is a real thing to like at retrospectively at what could have been. We might have been able to see today as the day again, but unfortunately not for this one. But regardless, we got some more matches to come back very soon, so I'm not going to hold you on for too long. One thing I'll say real quick before we transition into our break into the next match is, if you guys loved that match you just saw, if you guys grew a new fondness for some of the teams of this Host World Cup, you can get yourself some banners and make your support known. Very, very cheap investment as a way to invest and give the prize pool a bit more of a boost for our incredible players here at the Yost World Cup. Not only do you benefit the players, but you also get to rep your teams in style. Go to the Yost store, go get your banners to support whatever country you want. It doesn't even have to be a team that's still in this World Cup. You can still get your banners for Kazakhstan, guys, I'm saying. But outside of that, go get your banners. But until then, T1G, it's been a pleasure casting with you once again. I've been Sad Shiva, and we'll see you guys very, very soon for Russia versus Chile. Don't go anywhere.